Hey everybody, this is another video in our series of videos on the conference tournaments, and now we're doing the Big Ten. I obviously think that Michigan is going to destroy this tournament, but it should be one of the better conference tournaments, I think. And
I think the beauty of this tournament is the number of teams, because we just finished the ACC. And they have 2 byes for some teams.
Mm-hmm.
None of these teams get 2 byes. So you have Ohio State, Purdue in the first round, and maybe that's not a great matchup, but the second round immediately you have 2 teams that are in the top half of the conference. And I think that's a big deal in making the tournament overall more attractive as a viewer.
yeah, I don't think any of these the second or the quarterfinal games are going to be very good, though. That's the only thing. I mean, Ohio State, Nebraska, though it might be a better game, I don't think it's. I mean,
it's not very great.
It's
basketball.
not. Yeah, it's not going to be a great basketball game. And
I think Iowa's a little scary for
Iowa.
Michigan
Yeah,
State.
I agree with that. Iowa's probably the scariest team. The scariest team coming out of that first round, but. I mean, otherwise, it's pretty.
So you have Michigan playing Nebraska. I honestly would love it if Michigan had to play through Ohio State. Any Michigan Ohio State fan is a plus for me as a neutral perspective, whether it's whatever sport it is. I mean, I love rivalry, and if you can get Michigan State in the Big Ten semifinals. I mean, there's nothing to go for a chance to play for the Big Ten championship. You got to go through your rival. I don't think there's much better than that in sport. And I think if they play Michigan State in the championship game, that's what I'm hoping for.
I agree. I agree. Just as a fan's perspective, Michigan versus Ohio State. Yeah, you want to see that game, but I think as Michigan, from Michigan's perspective. I think they'd much rather play Nebraska.
I think if you're Ohio State, you don't have a choice but to play Michigan, so you want to get there.
Yeah.
But if you're Michigan, you're right. You want to play Nebraska because anything can happen in a rivalry game.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so attractive as a neutral fan.
Yeah, and also I just think, completely objectively, Ohio State, though they've been really struggling this year, is a little bit more of a dangerous team, especially in a tournament like that. I mean, they're very experienced, and
they just can't score the ball.
They just can't. Yeah. That's the only thing.
It's pitiful too because Aaron Craft should have. I mean, I don't know if he could have left. I think he's staying because he's not quite NBA ready. Doesn't have the NBA body.
No, not a chance.
But he's a great college defender, perimeter, and he's got a good head on his shoulders.
And he'll find a way in the NBA if he can just keep doing the things he's doing.
And he's got. I think he's smart.
Get better offensively. I mean,
but I don't know. I don't know if he will. I think he's very limited in his offensive game. I think if he wants to get to the NBA, he's got to be able to shoot.
Yeah.
And you can always get better at shooting.
Well, to Ricky Rubio.
To a certain extent. But you can never shoot too much. But I think that it's going to be Nebraska-Michigan. I think Nebraska's really hot. I think that they're in the tournament. But if they lose their first game in the Big Ten tournament, the NCAA tournament's not going to like that. The committee is not going to like that. And for that reason, I think Nebraska will get through, and I don't see Wisconsin or Michigan State winning. But that Wisconsin-Michigan State game is going to be fun too.
It's going to be a great game.
Saturday's going to be a really good day for basketball.
The problem with I don't think Nebraska's going to give Michigan a whole lot of trouble, but they did earlier in the season. That's kind of what makes me a little bit nervous.
And
but
it's the semifinals of a Big Ten.
I just think Michigan has gotten really hot. I think they just won the Big Ten. They're eager and ready to prove themselves. And I just don't really see Nebraska beating them.
I don't either, and I see. I think Wisconsin was one of the hottest teams
at the beginning of the year.
Well, no, at the beginning of the year, but then at the end of the year. I mean, they were hot at the beginning of the year. One of the few teams to beat Florida that was on Wisconsin's court. They were tough to beat at home, but you know how many home games you have in the tournaments?
None.
0.
Right.
So that's different. But I think that Michigan State got just unlucky this year. I mean, they were supposed to be so good, and Payne was in and out of the lineup because of injuries, and I don't know if they could get it together quick enough. They only have one more chance. I think they got to get it together in the Big Ten tournament because if you don't have it together before the NCAA tournament, you're in trouble.
That's very true, and But I don't put it past them at the same time. I think they Adrian Payne, you said he's been in and out, but he's a senior. I mean, he knows what he needs to do to win basketball games. And I mean, again, you got Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
It goes down to coaching a lot of the time in these tournaments.
And this Wisconsin coach is underrated.
I agree with
Ryan.
that. I think he's a great coach too.
He's been there for a while.
Just not as proven as Tom Izzo, I think.
And not as proven in the tournament.
Yeah.
In the NCAA
when it really
That's
when
you
counts.
make your money.
Yeah, when it really counts.
Who
do you have coming out of
I
that?
have to pick Wisconsin. The way they played at the beginning of the year, the way they're capable of playing, and the way they played at the end of the year. They had a loss at the end of the season that was unfortunate. I feel like every team sort of making a run for that last number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
You got Wichita State, Arizona, and Florida. Those last teams making a run for that last number 1 seed. I feel like all of them lost. And so you sort of throw Villanova in there as like a consolation prize. I mean, it's the only team left, right? They won the American East. That conference is underrated this year too. SMU, Cincinnati, Louisville, and Villanova, all top 20 teams in the nation.
Right.
But which is as many as North Carolina has. But I think that ACC has. But I think that Michigan's too good. I don't think that there's a great team in this Big Ten. You know, a great team like there was last year, like Michigan was. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. But I think Michigan has it to win it, and I think that they know that they want. I think that they really want that 1 seed. And honestly, I was looking at the bracket today, and it has Florida playing Michigan, and I don't want that. I don't want Florida to have to go through Michigan until like the championship game or the Final Four.
I do want that.
That game will not go away. That game last year will knock it out of my head.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, this is my biased opinion, but not really. I just objectively looking at all these teams in the field, Michigan's beat Michigan State twice. They've been struggling, and I think Michigan State's the one who's going to come in and challenge Michigan in that championship game. Nick Stauskas, lately, he's been hot. He had 5 threes against Illinois. That might have been in the first half too. I don't remember exactly, but he had a crazy game against Illinois to clinch the Big Ten title. And Glenn Robinson, I've always thought he was the key to this team. Getting to that championship game again. I thought he'd make much more.
You were very high on him at the beginning of the year.
I thought he was going to make.
He got a poster. He thought that he was going to be the number one.
Up there.
And in reality, Nick Stauskas is the guy that stepped up.
Yeah, Nick Stauskas has definitely been, and I think the X factor on this team has become Karis LeVert.
Yeah?
I think watching him. I went to that game, that Indiana-Michigan game over the weekend, and he's become one of the better scorers on the team and just players in general. He gets steals. He just has developed a feel for the game that he didn't have last year, and I think next year he's going to be our guy, especially if Stauskas leaves.
And if you had to pick one team in the NCAA tournament that's going to make a run from the Big Ten, it's going to be Michigan.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think another team has the ability to get to the Final Four?
I think it's Michigan State.
Purely based on upside.
Purely based on upside, and just if they can just put it all together. I think.
And Tom Izzo is the guy to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
There we go. There's our Big Ten wrap up. We'll be back soon with another conference. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Later.